The first domino in the post-Bill Belichick era for the New England Patriots did not take long to fall. Jerod Mayo is your new head coach. Was it the right move? Stick around. You're about to be locked into the Locked On Patriots podcast.
You are Locked On Patriots, your daily New England Patriots podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello to all of you Foxborough faithful, and thank you once again for making Locked On Patriots a daily part of your New England Patriots coverage. Remember, Locked On Patriots is a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, and we're also available on all platforms, including YouTube. So smash that subscribe button, download, follow wherever you get your podcasts to ensure that you get the latest episode as soon as it's available. I'm your host, Mike Debate. I cover your New England Patriots for Patriots Country of Sports Illustrated. So reach out to me and let me know what's on your mind on X at MDABATENFL. While you're out there showing some social media love to Locked On Patriots, follow our account there as well at LO_Patriots. And Pats fans, today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Patriots Nation, less than 24 hours after announcing a mutual and amicable parting of ways between the New England Patriots organization and legendary head coach Bill Belichick, the coach and GM of this team for the past 24 seasons, New England Patriots moved quickly to hire his successor. Jerod Mayo will formally be introduced as the team's new head coach at a press conference next week. And now that Mayo is set to take the helm, a new era in Foxborough is about to begin. And here today to help me sort it all out, break it all down, talk about the ins and outs, the ups and downs, is my good friend, the legend himself, Thomas Murphy of Die Hard Boston Sports. Thank you for coming to me in friendship today, Don Murph. Another interesting day in Foxborough.
Yeah, don't blink. Don't blink. I can't say that we didn't see this coming. We all really knew that this was going to happen. Jerod had turned down head coaching interviews in the past. He wasn't up for any this year. I mean, why would he be? Not for a lack of talent or anything, but people around the league knew that this was going to happen. Papers were filed in the league office at the beginning of the year. It's been reported that there was a succession plan in place. And yeah, called it.
Once the domino fell yesterday, as I said to open the show, with regard to Bill Belichick and no longer being their choice as head coach moving forward, automatically the eyes seemed to gravitate toward Jerod Mayo. Now, I know a lot of people out there were expecting Mike Vrabel, and that threw a wrench into the plans of what the Patriots were going to do. But Ian Rappaport reporting again last night on NFL Network, stating that it is contractually there that there was a succession plan in place. And it really does allow for a seamless transition for New England, probably the path of least resistance. But that still doesn't mean that this is the wrong hire, folks. Judging by the reaction that you're seeing from Patriots players that are excited to play for Jerod Mayo, this looks like the right hire to me. Look, there's no question about it. Jerod has been among the lead architects of New England's recent defensive renaissance. And make no mistake about it, folks, this defense has been the reason why the Patriots have continued to be in games.
Right.
You got to give outside linebackers coach Belichick his just due on that as well. So I don't want to make it sound like this was all the architect of one man. Steve had his hand on this. And as always, if you're talking defense, Bill Belichick has his thumbprint all over that defense. But Jerod was intricately involved in defensive play calling strategies, essentially carrying out the duties of an unofficial defensive coordinator. Right. And that's where I think this really becomes an interesting hire, is because everything that you hear about Jerod Mayo is that his is the voice that makes the room stop. People respond to him. I've heard him described as someone whose strength is people. And I think that's a big part of the reason why he is going to be the head coach here in New England for 2024 and beyond. Apparently, they got the right guy in the fold now, at least in their estimation.
Yeah, I agree. In their estimation, I don't think that Bill was a bad people person. I think Bill was a
Agreed.
bad media person. Okay. I think anybody that had ever spent any time, any football people that ever spent any time around Bill Belichick, found him engaging and insightful and downright brilliant. You know, if you wanted to sit there and talk football with him, that's great. He'll do that all day long. It was the fact that he wasn't the media darling that some other people are, and that quite frankly, Jerod Mayo has been. A lot of the people in this town have covered Gerard since his 2008 rookie season, and really like the guy, and there's no reason not to. But what I'm saying is that it's a lot different being a captain of the defense, being an assistant coach, and being the head coach of any team.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Look, there's a difference between holding a position in authority that's not where the buck stops. And then there's a difference between actually getting that chair. We've heard vice presidents, we've heard senators, when they ascend to the role of president, say, I thought I was ready for this position. You have no idea what it's like until you sit in the big chair. Then you really realize just how much pressure is on your shoulders. Folks, I'm not equating a head coach position to president of the United States, but as a metaphor, as an analogy, it does fit. You really never understand how much pressure there is on a head coach until you've sat in that chair. Now, there is precedent for things like this happening, because one of the big criticisms of Jerod Mayo's hiring, and I saw a lot more of this yesterday than I did today after it was announced that he was the choice, is that Jerod has never been a head coach before at the pro level. 5 years as an NFL assistant. You look at what other people have done in a similar situation. I point directly to Andy Reid. 7 years as an NFL assistant, immediately ascended to the head coaching position. It worked out pretty well. That does not mean it's going to work out now, but it also, I think, lends into my thought process about Jerod being able to reach his players. Another former Patriots linebacker, Jamie Collins, who I've had the pleasure of interviewing here on Locked On Patriots, who, by the way, folks, also in that interview,
find it.
Also wanted to express his aspirations to be a head coach or to be a coach in the NFL someday. That could get interesting. We might revisit that at some point here on Locked On Patriots. But one of the things that Jamie said, I think really sticks out as maybe a ringing endorsement of Jerod Mayo's hiring by the Patriots. And that is, he taught me the game in ways I hadn't seen it before.
Right.
And it came from the voice of a peer. At 37 years old, Jerod Mayo has a way of being able to reach some of the players on this roster that maybe a 71-year-old Bill Belichick did not have. I'm not criticizing Bill's style, and I'm not saying that he wasn't capable of reaching his players. Every tribute that you saw come out from one of Bill Belichick's former players yesterday said that he was one of the greatest football minds they had ever been around, and truly a remarkable coach. And they thanked him for teaching them the love of the game of football, for really sharing that love of football. So that's in no way a knock to Bill Belichick, folks.
Nope.
But Jerod Mayo does have a way of being able to reach across maybe a lack of logistical experience to maybe fill that with the ability and the enthusiasm. Folks, we're going to continue to talk about that. We've got a lot coming on the future of Bill Belichick, the future of the New England Patriots, and Murph and I are even going to briefly dip our toe today into what the next step is for the New England Patriots, because Murph and I are going to talk a little bit more in depth as to the impact Jerod Mayo's hiring will have on the players on his roster, potential free agents, and also the staff he's going to be working with. Big part of this hire is how he's going to assemble the Patriots' new coaching staff. We're going to talk that and more when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, we've all been there before. You got tickets to the big game, you got tickets to see your favorite musical artist, but you just can't find an easy and affordable way to do it. Well, you shouldn't have to worry when you're buying tickets to your next event. Gametime is the fast and the easy way to buy tickets for all of the sports, the music, the comedy, and theater events coming to you. Gametime's all-in prices show your total upfront, so you know you're getting a great deal without all those hidden fees out there. They're actually obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets, Murph. It's amazing. That includes zone deals where you pick the section and Gametime picks the seats for an average of an 18% savings. And the Gametime guarantee is something you're going to love even more. It means you always get the best price, and if you find tickets in the same section and roll for less, Gametime will credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. So again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Patriots fans, thank you once again for joining us here today on Locked On Patriots, spending part of your weekend prep for a new era in New England. Jerod Mayo is the new head coach of the New England Patriots, less than 24 hours removed from Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft holding their joint media session, announcing that they were parting ways after 24 seasons. Murph, I spoke to Ross Jackson this morning here on the Locked On Podcast Network, and his first question to me was, are you surprised that Jerod Mayo was hired? I don't think I was surprised by Jerod Mayo's hiring.
No.
Maybe a little bit surprised by the timing. I thought maybe a day would have gone by. But you know what? When you got your guy, you go for it. And that's exactly what they've done. But you and I both know that it goes so much deeper than that. There is an impact on the players that are left behind. There is an impact on the remaining coaches on the staff. And you're going to have new coaches brought in, probably from different locations. When you look at the impact of Jerod Mayo's hiring, what do you think is going to be the biggest benefit from having Mayo on staff, and what concerns you the most?
Well, the benefit is Jerod also knowing the intricacies, inside the building and all of the coaches that are involved. He's been here for so long. He's going to know who he wants to bring back. And I'm going to bring up a name right now that's going to be a hot name around the league, and that's DeMarcus Covington.
Very good point.
DeMarcus has done a fantastic job here in New England on the defensive side of the ball. And I really, really believe that, it would be the smart, prudent move to make him the next DC. Somebody is going to make him a DC. Yeah. All right. So I'd rather have it here a year early than, be late be late on this call. It's what Mayo brings is, when we're talking about these people skills, was going to help with building this new this new Patriots coaching staff in a way that probably would be a problem for a new guy coming in, for guys that you want to keep. Now I'm still a little sketchy about what's going to happen with Jerod not having this much experience in bringing in new coaches and bringing new coaches here to New England. But the writing's on the wall that Bill O'Brien will be back next year in 2024. So that seems to be settled. Maybe finding a new offensive line coach, a new wide receivers coach are should be, tops on Mayo's list in keeping guys here that you want, including guys named Belichick, because I would really like to see Steve hang around. I think he's done a fantastic job over there on that side. And I believe that it would be good for him to get out from under Dad. I really do. I think it's a pipe dream. I think if Bill ends up getting one of the plum jobs that we've all talked about, Dallas, it's going to be hard for Steve to say no, when Dad says, come along, especially since Dad might make Steve a DC.
Excellent point on DeMarcus Covington, because I completely agree with you. This is a name, folks, that you're going to be reading a lot of on social media over the next couple of days. You're probably going to be seeing articles pop up about DeMarcus and his qualifications to be either the next defensive coordinator here in New England or potentially a high-ranking coach. I think the Patriots should do whatever they need to do to keep this guy in-house, because the job that he's done with this defensive line, ranked number one coming into the final week of the season in stopping the run, and an overall defense that was ranked sixth. I mean, despite a 4-13 record, this defense gave you everything it possibly could this year, without any question. And that's why DeMarcus Covington was considered for defensive coordinator positions throughout the league. Murph is absolutely right. If it's not here, it's going to be somewhere else. This is also a coach that served in the capacity of the American squad for the 2023 Senior Bowl last year, was a big part of that coaching staff. He was nominated as the Patriots representative earlier this year for the NFL Coaching Accelerator program. So if you want to talk about a coach that's on the fast track, he definitely is it. The Patriots would be smart to hold on to him. The question is how much coveted is Covington going to be on the open market? I also like the point that you made about Stephen Belichick. If there is an opportunity for him to step out of the shadow of a legendary father, that unfortunately, that for better or for worse, that legacy is going to follow him. Whether he deserves the comparison, whether he should be compared or not, is really irrelevant. He's going to be, judging by the nature of his last name. If he wants to forge his own identity, this might be a good place to do it. And considering the breakup between Belichick and Kraft was amicable, this might be something that both sides would consider and give their stamp of approval on. So one other thing to watch there as well. The last point that you made, buddy, that I think is a good one is the coaching staff. Now look at other layers of this coaching staff. Bill O'Brien comes back as the offensive coordinator. We're assuming that's going to happen. There is still a lot to be fixed on that offense. We don't know the health status of Adrian Clem just yet. We don't know whether he's coming back. A new offensive line coach is a possibility, folks. And as I mentioned earlier with Ross, this is a special teams unit, Murph, that once again finished in the bottom of barrel in DVOA and special teams, ranked last in DVOA in 2022. Not much better in 2023, ranked number 28. That's got to change, and you have to think that's going to change quick.
That's that's something. Thank you for bringing it up. That just completely, left my mind and body. How bad this special teams unit has been over the last 2 years, and yeah, that definitely needs to be addressed. Changes need to be made there.
Murph, bottom line, whether the fans agree with it, whether we agree with it, whether the media agrees with it, the players in this locker room right now seem to be behind Jerod Mayo. But you and I both know that there are still free agents out there that need to be re-signed on this team. Guys like Kendrick Bourne, Hunter Henry, Michael Wainu, Kyle Duggar. We've mentioned all these guys that could potentially go elsewhere in 2024. Do you believe that the hiring of Mayo makes it any more likely or less likely that some of these guys come back?
I think more likely that a lot of these guys come back. You've never heard anybody say a disparaging word about Jerod Mayo, but no, I think it's more likely the familiarity, knowing who you're going to deal with, as opposed to bringing in a new coach that these guys have no idea what they're about. It's going to be a little bit different. The money is going to have to be spent. Okay, it's not just going to be the cachet of Bill Belichick. Jerod just does not have that yet.
Yeah, absolutely. And, bottom line, folks, it could end up benefiting the New England Patriots. It could take a different route, but encouraging things that you're starting to see trickle out on social media from some of the national pundits, media members that have spoken to players saying that priority one is now me returning to New England because Jerod Mayo is going to be the head coach, independent of the fact that Bill Belichick was leaving. If Bill had to leave, this is the guy that a lot of those guys in the locker room wanted to have. And that, to me, says that the New England Patriots at least pushed the right button in this situation in order to maintain some continuity and maintain that type of cohesion that you need in a locker room to succeed. What it leads to on the field, what it leads to in the win-loss column, what it's going to lead to in the future for the Patriots is still all a matter of conjecture. Because not only do you have to have the right coach in place, you have to match him with the proper GM. And that's one of the most important decisions still on the table for the New England Patriots. The coaching decision was made fairly quickly, but I expect a little bit more of a prolonged search for the general manager. Murph and I are going to dip our toe into that pool in just a moment when this episode of the Locked On Patriots podcast continues, a proud part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Locked On listeners, I know we come to sports to escape from some of the crazy realities of real life, especially over the course of the last couple of days. But can we just talk for a moment about really preparing for real life? According to the FDA, pharmacies are running out of antibiotics like amoxicillin right in the middle of the worst flu season in over a decade. Folks, this is scary. I can't imagine a more helpless feeling than if a family member of mine got sick while a supply chain issue kept them from getting the medication they needed. Thankfully, we'll be okay because of Jase Medical. The Jace case is a pack of 5 different antibiotics to treat a long list of bacterial illnesses. That includes UTIs, respiratory infections, sinusitis, skin infections, and among others. This stuff could happen to any one of us at any time. So visit jasemedical.com and complete your physician encounter. It will be reviewed by a board-certified physician, and your medications will be dispensed by a licensed pharmacy at a fraction of the regular cost. It's never been more important to be prepared than today. Go to jasemedical.com and use the offer code LOCKEDON to get $20 off your order. Locked On listeners, thank you once again for joining us here today on what has been an interesting 48 hours in New England Patriots Nation. Bill Belichick out as head coach. Jerod Mayo, now by all accounts, will be named the New England Patriots head coach at a press conference that we're learning now from the Patriots press team, folks, as we speak, will be held on Wednesday, January 17th. He will become the team's 15th head coach in franchise history. And Murph, you and I have talked a lot about the benefits of Jerod Mayo, what he's going to bring to the table. Yep. Some of the concerns that I think are legitimate concerns about a new coach coming in and the voice and the way things are going to be handled now in New England moving forward. But one of the things that I think is interesting with bringing in a coach and putting a coach in place is not having the general manager in place just yet. You and I have talked several times offline about this, and you've raised a lot of concerns. Before we dip our toe into who might be on that short list of general manager candidates for the New England Patriots, what are your thoughts on putting the coach in place before the GM?
I think it's a mistake. I think that it's a built-in excuse that if somebody comes in here and things don't work out over the next 3 or 4 years, that they just say, well, this coach and coaching staff was thrust upon me. This wasn't my guy. This wasn't the guy that I wanted to hire. It's going to have to be a very special person that's going to come in here and act as a GM when ownership has already decided who your coaches are.
Very good point, folks.
Here you go. Go ahead, work with it.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. I mean, when you build a franchise like Patriots are trying to build or trying to rebuild, I should say, when you're trying to recapture the glory of years past, you look at a team right now like the San Francisco 49ers, who have done a tremendous job of building that roster, talented players, great head coach in terms of what your strategy is. Just everything around that organization right now is all hitting on the right cylinders. Adam Peters, as an assistant GM, has been a big part of that over there. Now with him headed to Washington, that takes his name off the list. The Patriots can't consider him for someone who's going to come in and help right the ship. That's the type of name that I think any coach, especially a rookie coach, would be willing to work with. So that's someone that I think Jerod could have very easily got along with. And hopefully you would look at someone like Adam coming in and saying, okay, this is a coach that I've seen before. I know he's been interviewing for head coaching positions and coordinator positions. Don't forget, folks, when you do that, it opens up a lot of doors for you, and it makes a lot of contacts that you wouldn't have remaining on a coaching staff without that experience. So just because Jerod Mayo hasn't necessarily worked with the new GM yet, it doesn't mean that he's not someone that has already forged maybe relationships there. And that brings me to a name that I think could be intriguing for the New England Patriots. Someone who's getting a lot of traction. I saw our good friend Taylor Kyle's tweet out about him earlier. Al Greer, Sports Illustrated, mentioned him earlier. And that's Trey Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals. Right now, Trey is a senior personnel executive for the Bengals. This would be an upgrade, well, without question. So the Patriots would be well within their purview to bring him in for an interview for the general manager position. He does have Patriots ties. He started out in the scouting department under Bill Belichick in 2010, first as an assistant and then as an area scout from 2011 to 2012. Went to the Philadelphia Eagles, held numerous jobs there, then was named director of college scouting from 2016 to 2018. Yeah, folks, he was one of the ones responsible for building the roster that beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl in 2017. If Trey comes here, we won't hold that against him. And then he goes to the Cincinnati Bengals, and he helps them build a roster that got them to the Super Bowl in 2021. The distinction of having been on the staff of 3 Super Bowl contenders, 3 Super Bowl participants, really speaks well of him. And here's the kicker, Murph. Reportedly, he has a very good relationship with Jerod Mayo. That could factor into Trey's favor.
That really could. And another guy that I'm thinking about is Chicago Bears assistant GM Ian Cunningham. Cunningham is somebody that isn't afraid to pull a trigger. He got the trade down from the number one overall pick last year, and has the Bears looking up for the first time in a really long time. I think he would, but my dark horse, and you read into this what you want, is Will McClay, who's down there in Dallas, who, if Bill ends up going to Dallas, like I think he will, because I think, they'll step all over themselves in the playoffs again and Jerry will look for a coach, and what better coach to grab. But Will McClay has been the vice president of player personnel down there in Jerrytown for a very long time. Now, we all know that when it comes to the Dallas Cowboys, that Jerry and Stephen Jones are the guys who are, out there in front talking to the media. But, Will McClay is a man who when he speaks, people listen. Okay. He's a fantastic roster builder. He essentially is the general manager down there without the job title. So that's something that you wouldn't have to finagle around, the way you do in the league and in hiring coaches or front office people. He's quite frankly, I hate to admit it, but Dallas has been one of the best drafting teams in the NFL during his tenure here.
Yeah,
and this is a man that I think, yeah, you really do. And this is a man that gets it done. He knows the college game. He knows these players, and everybody likes him. Maybe that's because you don't hear much about him or from him, because Jones is so out there and so in front. But I would really like to see Will McClay, get a shot here in New England. I think he would do a fantastic job.
And I think it's interesting that you mentioned guys like Cunningham and McClay without ties to the Patriots organization.
No.
Another big name that a lot of people are starting to bandy about is Kansas City Chiefs assistant GM Mike Borgonzi, someone who might come in, and that's a possibility that the Patriots may want to use. The others have direct ties to New England that a lot of people know very well. We've mentioned Scott Pioli. We've mentioned Elliott Wolf, who I think could be a front runner here because of his ability to not only scout talent, but his knowledge of the Patriots system. Matt Groh, I think, is probably an outside chance. I think he's going with Bill. And then of course Dave Ziegler is a wild card out there as well. His time in New England, he was very highly sought after and really considered a rising star among general manager candidates throughout the NFL prior to going to Las Vegas. From what I'm hearing in circles that I'm running in and people that I've spoken to, they said that that job did a lot more damage to Josh McDaniels' reputation than it did to Ziegler. He's going to get an opportunity somewhere. Whether it's here in New England, folks, is still a matter of conjecture, but those are all names I keep an eye on right now. We want to hear all about your thoughts. Who's on your short list of GMs that could potentially make an impact here in New England? And what do you think they should be doing with that draft? It's a perfect opportunity to solicit questions for Mailbag Monday. That's right, folks. No longer Melancholy Monday. No longer Malaise Monday. No longer Victory Monday. Didn't have nearly enough of those this year,
back
folks.
To the mailbag.
But Mailbag Monday is back. So get those questions in because we want to feature as many as possible. When Murph and I hit the microphone once again here on Monday, take your great questions. But in the meantime, my friend, I thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, opening and closing the week in style, as you always do with us here on Locked On. Before I let you go, please let everyone know where they can reach out to you and what you got cooking in Murph's kitchen between now and Monday.
Lasagna. I got lasagna.
You like your lasagna?
Yeah, I got. You like your lasagna? But you can follow me on Zitter at tmurph207 and whatever's tickling my fancy. Right now, I'm just tired of poking a stick at the Red Sox and asking them to do something. So I'm waiting for any ball to drop over there. But no, my monster keys to the off season will be out either this week or next. A lot of them have been cut already. So we'll see what's happening. You know, just follow me on the Bird app, the former Bird app, the X app at TMurph207, and keep up with everything that I've got going on over there at Die Hard Boston Sports.
Absolutely, folks. And he joins me each and every week here on Locked On. Definitely consume all of his written work, all of his vocal work, because like I said, you'll be a better Patriots fan, a more informed one, and you'll be entertained at the same time. And when it comes to Red Sox coverage, second to none, this man right here. And I say that without hesitation.
Thank you.
Murph, thank you so much for your wisdom and counsel. Folks, what can I say? Thank you all, especially all you everydayers out there that have been with us from the start of this season right through the end of Belichick watch and a new era beginning here in New England. It's a new era for Locked On Patriots as well. So I encourage you to stay locked into Locked On Patriots for all the very latest on the GM search, Jerod Mayo's hiring, and what it means for the Patriots in free agency and the draft. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to be a great ride here in the offseason. And we sincerely hope you come along with us. On behalf of my good friend Thomas Murphy, I'm Mike Debate, reminding you all to stay safe and to stay well and to be the change you wish to see in the world. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you back here again on Monday on Locked On Patriots.